Hello everyone, welcome to EduHunt video lecture series. And now we are in our favorite biology class. I am Lata Krishna. Let's move on to the concept, that is reproduction. What is reproduction? It is nothing but multiplication of organisms. It is an organism multiplies and produces offspring of its own kind. That is known as reproduction. Reproduction is one of the activities of living organisms. The organisms which are produced through reproduction process are similar to the mother organism. All organisms are alike because why all the organisms are same? Because they made up of cells. Because all the living organisms have a basic structural and fundamental common unit is known as cell. All the organisms are made up of cells and they respond to the external stimuli. That is, there is any stimulus that the organism responds to that stimulus. So this is the another reason. Because of this, the organisms are of same kind and they take birth. They grow, organisms grow and they reproduce, that is multiplication, and die after completing the lifespan of a particular organism. All these things, all these processes, all these activities carried out through the entire the life cycle of an individual or an organism. The period from birth to the death is known as the lifespan, isn't it? Lifespan is nothing but the duration or the period between the birth and the death of an organism. It varies from one organism to the other, one species to the other. Let us see some organisms and their approximate lifespan. This is the table showing various organisms and their approximate lifespan. For a man, it is said to be 65 years, and for elephant, it is also equal to human beings. It is also 65. For a parrot, it is 140 years, tortoise 200, and cat 35 to 40 years, dog to 20 to 30 years, monkey 26, and banyan tree, it has a lifespan of 300 to 500 years. That is, lifespan varies from one species to another. It ensures, the process of reproduction ensures the continuity of the species generation after generation. That is, the reproduction process enables the organism to produce, to multiplicate, or to give rise to the number of individuals of its own kind through several generations. And genetic variation is created and inherited during reproduction. What is meant by genetic variation? Genetic variation is nothing but differences in the genes. Differences in the genes during reproduction especially in sexual reproduction. The genetic material undergoes recombination. We say in reproduction, two individuals participate. One is male and the other is female. Both the reproducing individuals, while participating in the process of reproduction, they release gametes, and fusion of these gametes will result in the formation of zygote, and this zygote in turn develops into an embryo, which will further gives rise to an individual, a complete individual. This is the process how sexual reproduction occurs. During this process, while producing the gametes, they undergo a cell division known as meiotic cell division. Meiosis occurs during formation of these gametes. During the process of meiosis, there occurs the genetic recombination. Genetic recombination is the exchange of genetic material between paternal and maternal chromosomes. Chromosomes are the physical structures which carry the genes. We all know that genes are the structures responsible for transfer of some traits. We are like this because of our genes. Genes are not visible, but the characters determined by the genes are visible to our eye. The characters, the traits that are offered by the genes, determined by the genes, are heritable, and also these are visible. Some features are not visible, but some are visible. Whether they are visible or invisible, the genes are behind for every trait of a particular organism. So, the genetic variation also occurs in the process of reproduction, and the genes inherit from parents to the offspring. 4 basic processes of reproduction are: number 1, this is the replication of genetic material, that is DNA. DNA is the genetic material. This genetic material undergoes replication. Replication is nothing but duplication. The original material undergoes duplication before sharing between the daughter cells. This is replication. In this, there is double-stranded DNA is there, and during replication process, the 2 strands separate. They get separate from each other. After separation, one strand acts as the template, and using that template strand, the second strand, the newly generated strand, will be copied. This is known as DNA replication. This is the first process. Then, after replication, cell division takes place. Cell division. Cell division is of 2 types. One is the mitotic division, and second is the meiotic division, which you will be studied in your later classes, higher classes. And there are 2 different cell divisions. One is the mitotic cell division, and the second one is the meiotic or meiosis. You can see clearly, here you can see the picture. Here it is a single cell. It is the genetic material. What we are saying is DNA. This part is present in the nucleus of the cell. Now it is undergoing duplication. After duplication, after replication of the genetic material, sharing between the cells. After sharing the genetic material, sharing of cytoplasm also occurs, followed by separation of the 2 daughter cells. Cell division results in the formation of more number of cells. This is the cell division, that is second phase. First is the genetic material replication, that is DNA replication, and second is the cell division. Third is formation of gametes. the reproductive units, gametes. There are two different types of gametes, male gametes and female gametes. In plants, male and female gametes are produced on a single flower if it is a bisexual flower. In some plants, there are unisexual flowers where only male gametes, that is pollen, is produced in one flower and the gynoecium is present in another flower. They may be present on the same plant or on different plants. If both the conditions, both the sexes, that is male and female flowers, if both the flowers present on the same plant, then it is said to be monoecious. If the two male and female flowers are present on separate plants, then it is said to be a dioecious plant. These are the reproductive units called gametes. Gametes are the resultants of meiotic division, cell division, that is meiotic division. And you can see here it is the sperm, yes, you can see clearly it is the haploid sperm. Haploid is nothing but the number of sets of chromosomes is 1, single set is present. We have 2 sets of chromosomes. We obtain one set from our mother and the second set from father. In the same way, diploid individuals get their genetic material, get their chromosomes from half of the chromosomes from their mother and remaining half from their father. In the same way, these are the gametes which carry the information in the form of genes. Those are present on the chromosomes. Chromosomes are the structures they bear, they consist of, they carry the genes. Genes are responsible for traits. This is a male gamete, a sperm, and it is an egg or ovum. It is also a haploid. It carries single set of chromosomes. The sperm also carries, that is male gamete also carries single set of chromosomes. While the process of reproduction is going on, both the gametes will fuse together. They fuse with each other, they bind with each other, and both the genetic material, that is half of the one set of chromosomes from one gamete and the other set, both the chromosomes will enter and they form a fusion product, that is called the zygote, which is said to be a diploid one, because 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Haploid is the cell which contains a nucleus with single set of chromosomes. Diploid is a cell where 2 sets of chromosomes are present in the nucleus. 2 sets are coming from, one set from male side and the other remaining set from female side. Remember this, diploid is nothing but 2 sets of chromosomes are there. Haploid is nothing but there is a single set of chromosomes in the cell. Yes, this is the third process. First is the replication, second is the cell division, third is the formation of gametes, that is reproductive units, and then fourth one, formation of the individual. Here we can visualize how a human fetus develops. This is the fertilized egg, where we can see here this is the diploid zygote. After fertilization, the process of fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. Process of fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization, and the product of fertilization is zygote. It is a diploid one. Now this is the zygote and it undergoes division. After division, it produces an embryo. The embryo will develop into fetus like this. These are the developmental changes that take place while producing a fetus. Those are the 4 different stages of reproduction. Then living organisms reproduce by two methods, two different modes. One is the asexual mode and second is sexual mode of reproduction. Asexual mode of reproduction, it involves only single individual. In sexual reproduction, two individuals participate. Two individuals participate in sexual reproduction, whereas a single individual gives rise to asexual products. Rate of reproduction is faster in asexual reproduction. In lower organisms, reproduction occurs commonly by fission. Fission is nothing but breaking, division, and budding, fission, budding. Whereas in higher organisms, it occurs with the help of development of sex organs. While we are talking about plants, we can say the sex structures, sexual or the sex organs are said to be flowers. Can we imagine that all the plants produce or bear flowers? No. Some of the plants will produce flowers, these are the reproductive structures, and some do not produce flowers, but they reproduce through sexually. How it is possible? They produce sex organs. Sex organs in plants are antheridia. These are male sex organs. Antheridia are the male sex organs and archegonia are female sex organs. Female sex organs. Male sex organs and female sex organs. Antheridia and archegonia respectively. These are the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, it occurs in invertebrates and lower chordates. We are speaking about animals. It occurs in invertebrates and also lower chordates, lower vertebrates. In sexual reproduction, it occurs almost all types of animals. It is always uniparental. As I mentioned that in asexual reproduction, single individual, single parent is involved. So it is uniparental, whereas it is biparental. The sexual reproduction is biparental. Both the parents will contribute to the formation of the individual progeny. Gametes are not formed in asexual reproduction. But what are the structures that are produced in the asexual reproduction? Those are known as spores. They are not gametes, they are spores. Two types of gametes are formed. As I mentioned, male and female gametes. In human beings or in animals, we say that the male gametes as the sperm and female gametes eggs or ovum. It involves only mitosis, and it involves both meiosis and mitosis. These are the cell divisions. Mitosis is a cell division. It involves mitosis, whereas it involves both mitosis and meiosis. Daughter organisms are genetically identical to the parent, but here genetic variation is there in the progeny, genetic variation occurs. They differ, the products of sexual reproduction differ from their parents genetically. Genetic, what we say, modification or genetic variation will be there in the products of sexual reproduction. Progeny formed in the sexual reproduction. Since there is no variation, so it is not contributed to the evolution of the species. From the generations, from ancestors, these are like that only. From ancestors to the newly produced individuals, there is, because of no variation in the genetic material, there are no differences in the individuals or the progeny. But because of variations, it contributes to the evolution of species. Because of variation, they are involved in the evolution of species. It occurs by fission, budding or fragmentation. Asexual reproduction occurs by fission, budding or fragmentation. Because of fragmentation, each fragment will act as an individual. It occurs, sexual reproduction occurs by the formation of haploid gametes which fuse to form a diploid zygote. I said it is fertilization. Fertilization occurs. It is a quick method of multiplication. It is slower method of multiplication because the gametes will have to find their partners and they have to fuse. It will take time. That is why it is a slower process. So these are the 8 differences between asexual and sexual modes of reproduction. I hope you have understood the topic, and in the next session we will see each type of reproductions, each mode of reproduction in detail. Goodbye.